worries.
Congratulations on third place at the UTMB.
Yeah.
How does it feel to come third? It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's still sort of sinking in, I guess, pretty slowly, but yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, it's one of those things when you kind of think about something so much, and then kind of think, sort of best case scenario, or if things just kind of pan out, how you want them to. But to have it actually happen and to cross third at UTMB, yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, to be completely honest, like even though training had been going quite well this year, well, myself included, and also my coach, we kind of felt like it was kind of like a 2 or 3 year kind of plan to get on the podium at UTMB. And yeah, so for it to happen this year is just crazy. Like I knew there were kind of a few signs in training that things were going fairly well. Training with a couple of Capell, obviously, the guy can run pretty well. He's one of my best mates, and so yeah, we were training together, and just being able to kind of, I mean, for anyone to run with someone like that, you're obviously running fairly well and moving fairly well. So yeah, just sort of probably a few moments in training in the build up to UTMB this year was just sort of like yeah, because even 4 months ago, like the thought of running with Capell or Hayden Hawks or Marcin Schwerk, these guys, I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite at that level. Like I can run, but these guys can really run, So it's kind of yeah, sort of just a little bit nerve-wracking at first, to be honest. Like just to be sort of sharing the trails with these guys, super fast guys, and then yeah, just kept on gaining confidence this year, and yeah, getting kind of my race kind of results kind of back on track, I guess, after a pretty terrible 2018. It yeah, was definitely nice to kind of feel like things were moving well, and building up pretty nicely for UTMB, obviously. So.
And are you going to come to the UK anytime? Do you fancy anything over?
Yeah, we actually flew into London when we first got to Europe this year. So I think about 2 weeks we were up in the Lake District, which was just awesome. It's kind of been one of those places that I'd heard a lot about and really wanted to go to, and heard about the Bob Graham and everything like that. So the weather was absolutely horrendous for about 13 of the 14 days. Yeah, I mean, it was just like the middle of winter. I was wearing thermals and down jackets and waterproofs. I think I had one run where I didn't wear a rain jacket. The weather was just terrible. So yeah, definitely the Bob Graham round probably is one of the most kind of appealing things to me at the moment with regards to the UK. But in saying that, like there's just seems to be more and more amazing races pop up every time you kind of flick onto Instagram or Facebook. There's photos from some amazing race, whether it's in Wales or the UK or Scotland or whatever. So. Yeah, there's definitely I think enough races over there to entice people to come over there and race. So
awesome,
yeah,
fantastic, that's great. And I just want to quickly ask you some questions about your hydration for
Camelbak.
Yeah,
cool.
So just like a overarching advice, really, how do you stay hydrated on such a long race, like 100 miles?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a fine balance. Yeah, I think for me, I always use the soft flasks up front. Again, it kind of depends on the athlete and how long they're going to be between aid stations, because obviously if I was going to be longer between aid stations, I'll be needing to take a Camelbak bladder to carry more liquid, basically. And also just being able to kind of check in and actually just see out of a 500ml flask, like, okay, I've got this much left, or I maybe try and drink this much by this point. But then again, for me, part of my issues last year was basically drinking too much. And the bulk of that problem was basically because of my nutrition, and just taking too many gels and too many kind of sugary foods and stuff like that. So I was just constantly drinking. So then I'd be getting to downhills and I'd just have 1.5 litres of liquid in my stomach, and it would just bouncing and sloshing around. So it became a bit of an issue. But so just trying to sort of find that balance between obviously knowing that you're needing to stay hydrated, but then also making sure that you don't overdo it, because it's far easier to take a little sip and kind of top up than drink 1/2 litre in one go and then be sitting there, sitting on a rock just thinking, oh, when's this going to end, kind of thing. So, yeah, trying to balance that out.
And how do you know, like, when you're drinking too much or too little? Do you have any signs or anything like that?
Yeah, I think for me it's more just sort of basically just drinking to thirst. This whole kind of idea and sort of things that were getting sort of thrown around there years ago with regards to marathon running and stuff like that was you need to drink X amount of fluid per hour and this and that. And I mean, the reality is if you're drinking to thirst, you're basically never going to be thirsty. So my kind of plan, I guess, is to always make sure that I've got enough liquid to water or whatever it might be to drink to thirst. So as long as I can do that and have the capacity to be able to carry enough, which generally I'm kind of always going to, and so I'll basically 1 litre, or the Camelbak do a 600ml flask now, or 620 I think. So I can basically have like more than a litre up front, and then if I need to take another soft flask of water, I can just put it in my running band, and that way I can basically carry 1.6 litres. So even if I'm going to be kind of even 2 hours in pretty hot conditions like it was yesterday actually. So from basically Champelac, I think Champelac, Trion and Valocine, I basically took 2 flasks and then had one in my running band, and that just, like I said, it enabled me to drink when I needed to drink, and also when I was feeling pretty hot I could just squirt some water down my back of my neck or something, and just try and sort of cool myself down a little bit as well, just to prevent kind of overheating and stuff like that. So
that's a really good idea, that.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things, and it's the same kind of thing with like I was stopping at pretty much every single creek that I crossed from basically Champelac to the finish. Whenever there was a fountain through any villages or anything like that, I was even leaving Valocine, climbing up to Col de Montet. There's a little fountain there, and I just made sure I basically soaked my hat, splashed my face down my neck. It's kind of like it's 30 seconds lost, but I'm going to gain that 30 seconds and more going up the climb, because I'm going to have regulated my body temperature better, and just basically looking after yourself a lot better. So, and I think it's somewhere where people think, I don't want to stop, I don't want to lose my momentum, or I'm going to lose time, or the guy or the girl behind me is going to catch me, and it's kind of like, if you don't look after yourself, it doesn't matter how far ahead you think you're getting, because they're just going to come flying past, or you might not even finish the race if you don't look after yourself well. So it's it's definitely important to do all the small things. So
yeah, definitely, really important. And with the throwing the water over your head, I'm presuming you have water in one, but do you carry any other things like electrolytes or energy drinks in the other bottles?
Yeah, so I normally have a carbohydrate sort of drink mix, and so sort of I'll basically chop and change when I'm kind of adding that into my nutrition plan throughout the race, and part of that is obviously getting the the carbs and also some electrolytes in there as well, and then also by changing it up, it's sort of meaning that I'm not getting sick of one drink or one type of food or whatever it is, because it kind of doesn't matter who you are. If you go and eat one thing for 21 hours, you're probably not going to last that long doing it, sort of thing. So so generally I'll have one flask with some kind of carb drink mix, and again changing up the flavours of that as well throughout the race, and then normally water. And for me personally, I normally switch to completely water normally for the last part of the race. So basically from I think it was from Trion to the finish, so the last 30 odd K, it was just purely just water, and I had some sushi rice and some gels and stuff as well, just to by that stage you kind of just fresh water seems to be what sort of ticks the boxes. So
that's really good advice there for anybody who's interested in improving hydration.
It's definitely one of those things, and there's no, like, for me, and especially for myself as an athlete and also people that I coach, there's no kind of set guidelines of like eat this, drink this, and you'll be absolutely fine, because what I have might not be the same for what Power had, or what Xavier had, or what Tom had, but it is what works for me. And the other one that I do as well is I basically dilute the drink mix as well the further I get into the race, just because at the start of the race a salted caramel flavour is going to taste a certain way, and then after 90k around the mountains it's going to taste probably a bit stronger than what it was initially. So I normally just bring back the flavour. You're obviously getting less sort of carbs and energy from that, but then you can top up other ways by having some other food or some gels or something like that to kind of find the balance to make sure you're getting enough in. So
awesome. That's really good advice. And just finally, as a coach yourself, how important is it to stay hydrated for performance?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. It's kind of like I said, it's easy to top up, and whereas if you go the other way around and you think sort of ride that fine line of maybe not taking on as much, your body, I find from my experience, it just sort of gets to a point where you just start kind of winding down almost, and you can start sort of getting not necessarily dizzy, but just sort of a bit kind of groggy, a bit lightheaded and stuff. So it's definitely important. I mean, I think it's one of those things. Again, it's just sort of finding the balance, and I definitely you want to be on the right side of good sort of things. So and again, it's just practice as well. Just sort of understanding how much your body needs. Maybe if you're a heavy sweater, you need to think about things a bit differently with obviously
like
fluid, and with sodium intake as well. So it's just one of those things of obviously trying things in training and kind of working out. I'm going to need X amount of liquid per hour or whatever it might be, and then base it off that. And if it's going to be super hot like it was yesterday, carry an extra flask. Even for some people who are maybe having a Camelbak bladder with 2 litres, they might have another litre up here. For some people, if they're going to be 4 or 5 hours between a checkpoint, if you're basing it off I don't know, maybe 500 mils an hour or 600 mils an hour. It's like you kind of got to, you know, work it out sort of thing. And so yeah, you might need to carry, unfortunate as it is, you might need to carry 3 litres, which is you know, it's a lot of liquid and weight to be carrying. But you know, the opposite side of that is, you know, maybe skimping on you know, hydration and on water, and then, you know, the effects of that are, you know, probably going to mean that you probably won't finish the race. So it's yeah, definitely a thing just to try and fine tune and dial in as much as you can.
Fantastic. Is there anything else that you wanted to say around hydration? That's all my questions, but if there's anything that as a coach you wanted to add, then now's the time.
No, yeah, I think just yeah, like for me, like a big problem last year was just drinking too much, and also just the timing of when you're taking on hydration, or any even liquid calories if you're having some kind of carb mix or electrolyte drink, and just yeah, obviously uphill, less impact. You know, your stomach's kind of staying relatively in one spot, but obviously, yeah, when you are running downhill, it's important. So, I made the mistake several times in races before I kind of clicked and chatted to a few other people, and so basically now I'm just really cautious of making sure I don't load up on water or drink mix before any long downhills. Because yeah, last year at UTMB, basically I drank from Anuva up to Gran Cofre, so it's only 5k. I drank 1.2 litres of water, and then got to the downhill from Gran Cofre down to La Folie, and my stomach was just, yeah, it was doing a happy dance in there, and it was just bouncing around everywhere. And so yeah, I just started basically dry reaching, and it was purely, I wasn't feeling nauseous at all. It was just literally because I had so much weight in my stomach pulling my esophagus, and then I was just, yeah, dry reaching, and it got to the point where I felt like I'd been on like a 5-day drinking bender or something down at the pub, because yeah, I just couldn't stop dry reaching, and in the end that was basically the beginning and the end of my race last year. So it was you know, it was frustrating because the legs wanted to go, but yeah, the stomach just wasn't having any of it. So it was yeah, pretty frustrating, but it's definitely, yeah. So just, and that's what I say to a lot of my clients now, just, you know, pick and choose when you are taking on liquid, because it can just be as simple as thinking, oh, I'm really thirsty, chug 400 mils, half a litre, and then all of a sudden, you know, things aren't feeling so great. So it's more just not being afraid of that happening, but just more being aware, and just yeah, sort of just, I guess, picking your battles when you are going to take a bit on. And it does get hard as well when, you know, the temperatures do start to increase, because obviously your thirst is, you know, starting to build as well, so you need to kind of quench it. And so it's, yeah, it's easy just to come into an aid station and just, you know, kind of load up, and then 5 minutes out of the aid station, think, oh, far out, what have I done, kind of thing. So just, yeah, like I said, just trying to find that balance of having enough, but yeah, obviously not too much at the same time.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for all your advice.
No worries at all.
It's been absolutely fantastic to meet you
Cool.
and talk to you. And best of luck for your next races and your recovery.
Yeah, thanks so much.